welcome back. Before we begin further, I want to let you all know, don't be afraid to use those embers. Our coterie mates and myself definitely enjoy everyone's support and influence within the story we tell, as minor or major it may be, cause a little bit of interesting situations. But as usual, let's everybody introduce ourselves to our wonderful audience.
My name is Grayson Holland, the Tremere. Settle in for a spell.
I will be playing the role of Acer Zoran. As to my true identity, well, I wouldn't be much of a hacker if I told you now, would I?
I am Morgan Caldwell, and I am playing Crescent de la Sombra.
I am your very merciful but ever-watching storyteller, Peter Needham. Let's go ahead and continue our vampire story. Up until now, the events in Seattle have been chaotic, but unknowing to the general public, for the most part. The city currently in fear, recovering from the many, many days that has followed the alleged terrorist attack of one Duncan McTavish, though his name is not known to the general public. People walk to work, constantly looking over their shoulder. People at subway stations, bus stops, constantly on the eye out for suspicious bags or other things that would lead them astray. Police very heavy within the city, doubling their patrols, making life as comfortable as possible in these strange and worrisome times, unknowing beneath the surface that this is just a symptom of the war that is growing between the Anarchs and the Camarilla within Seattle. One would even argue it's possibly getting a little bit out of hand. But this evening, as people rush home, trying their best not to stay out late in this colder season of the year, while danger now seems to loom deeper in the city, we go ahead and turn to Crescent. Go ahead and give me your morning rouse check.
That's fail.
And what is your current hunger sitting at?
I was at 1 thanks to last session, so that brings me up to a 2.
2 hunger.
Mm-hmm.
That orchid that had grown so dim within you begins to bud once again, casting light, slowly beginning to reveal that ever and consuming expanse of oblivion that is your beast, dark and endless. But life returns to your undead flesh. Vitae pushes through your skin, urging your muscles to awaken you. Within the cathedral of Eleanor's chapel, in the familiar attic, as you rise, you look around. It's almost bittersweet to see your room so barren, save for the one bed. A little streetlight comes through the stained glass, as you can vaguely see the light falling of snow. You have suffered many wounds. Do you wish to attend to them for now?
Yes, I would like to look at least somewhat proper. So,
all right. Give me a rouse check per attempt. You always heal 2 superficial per rouse, thanks to your heightened potency.
Yes. Success.
Okay.
So that's 2. And another success.
Alrighty. So, you pull yourself up and inspect the overlook of your body. Scaled scabs form over the top layer of your skin, the severe burns you had suffered while attempting to subdue stone. A risk well worth it, but now left you unsightly, at least in Eleanor's perspective. So, pushing your vitae forward, you force flesh to net, skin to cool, and scabs to fall. And within a blink of an eye, as easy as it is to get up and walk around once again in the night, the scabs fade away, your skin that supple ivory once again.
It's going to take some time to think, but eventually get up and get around and see if Eleanor is up.
As you take time to reflect, what is Crescent feeling right now? As the memory of the previous day begins to course through your more calm mind, you know today's a big day, where you give your decision to the prince, under Eleonora's recommendation.
Definitely conflicted, thinking more long game of what she can do to better this situation, and I think she's got something in mind, so nervous still, but confident.
The beginnings of a plot possibly unfolding in your mind, you travel yourself down to the cathedral, taking the stairways. And as you make it down to the main thoroughfare of Eleanor's cathedral, it always still catches you surprised to see more attendants going to and from the hallways, even at this early evening, dusting the various Gothic sculptures and paintings and so forth that line the halls of her very grand church. Though still dimly lit by old-fashioned candles, it is much more comfortable comparatively to Grayson's facility, as it tends to be very bright. But you walk your way through. It's not long as you find Eleonora sitting behind her old organ. The sounds of her notes carrying heavy weights that seem to echo endlessly through every corner of a cathedral. No active sermon tonight, but many worshippers, her herd grown. In fact, looking over, you can see some overlapping individuals from Grayson's facility now starting to attend as well. Some appeared moderately injured, frazzled, fearful. One individual even looks up at you, vaguely recognizes you but avoids your eye contact at the few times the actual front desk attendant of Grayson's facility, as many seem to be in prayer or in deep thought.
Seeing the organ for a moment, I'm just gonna think back to what she said about Enzo, because normally he would play the organ.
Looking around, he's not here. The air almost not complete without Enzo's confidence emulating from him so naturally. Feels a little quieter even without his presence, as he always had a knack of playing the organ with such a hearty gusto.
I'll just sit and listen. Wait. I'm not going to interrupt her.
As you sit down in a pew, many individuals take notice of your presence and actively either move or scoot away from you. Within a few moments, you have almost a good 10-foot reach of all around you, just empty space. People rather crowding shoulder to shoulder than sit next to you. Your natural inclination just giving these poor individuals, these poor souls, a sense of uncomfortability in their most vulnerable state. But in time, as the notes carry heavily, allowing you to feel a certain sense of childlike home, Eleonora finishes up. She stands and turns, dressed in a very beautiful, flowing, dark gown that comes all the way up to the neck with silver buttons. Long lines of jewelry wrapped around her neck, as well as bracelets and rings. Long, drooping silver and diamond-studded earrings as she smiles, gives a small curtsy. People rise and clap as many individuals take the opportunity to thank her in person, shake hands. She offers words of encouragement before, after about maybe 15, 20 minutes, the herd begins to disperse, many leaving, others heading to other areas to participate in the volunteer efforts. But before long, the main thoroughfare has emptied, and Eleonora does look over you with a very large, flashing smile, her face flawless as always. Well, a little more work without Enzo here, as she saunters around the side of the pew and sits next to you, placing a hand on your lap. Are you ready?
I mean, I still need to get ready, but yes.
Not to worry, we'll take care of that. I mean, mentally.
Yeah.
Good. I know you won't disappoint me. The hand on your shoulder, she urges you to stand with her. Do you follow?
Yes.
She takes you upstairs, moving past many of the different attendants to one of the other taller locations within the cathedral. You recognize that she takes you through massive ornate doors into her own room. It's not very often you're in here. Most times she takes you to the feeding chambers below. As she enters in and you look around to see a source of lavishness that you, even with Grayson's facility, pales in comparison. Fine rugs, hardwood floors, a very large, massive bed, but no windows within this large upper area of the cathedral. You can see beautiful areas full of makeup. You see very thick, old, antique-looking wardrobe made of dark, dark wood with various intricate carvings twisted abound. One can only assume its worth, as you can see little traces of gold filament and inlay into the wood itself, the brass knobs in front gleaming, the room dimly lit with multiple candelabras and chandeliers. As she opens the door, the candles even begin to almost dim for a moment at her presence before coming back to full fruition, not a lick of electrical lighting within this space. But the candlelight themselves give a very gentle and calming tone. She leads you over by the hand and sets you down on one of the vanity areas, lacking any sort of reflective surface. As you look around, you do notice there is none to be seen.
Not very often you bring me in here.
Well, I don't usually like to bring others in here, as I like having my privacy, but unfortunately all of your stuff is over at Mr. Holland's facility. I figured if we were to get you ready, I might as well have to pull from my own stock. But it's not a bother, as she puts a hand on your shoulder. This is for an important night. You mustn't disappoint. You must show your best. We always show our best.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to watch her.
You watch her with firm but confident hands as she begins to prepare you. She helps you style your hair, a pointless act, as by tomorrow evening it'll be back to its long, straight, reddish hue. But for now, using a combination of modern technology with old methods, she has managed to give your hair a luscious wave. She applies light makeup, enhancing the natural virility of your eyes, adds a bit of rouge to your lips. She dons her ears with a little bit of jewelry from her own supply. And she does pause at the necklace. And she goes, that simply won't do, as she reaches to try and take it from you.
I would actually like to keep this.
She stands back with an eyebrow.
Sierra gave it to me.
Ah, the delegate. You're still in contact with her.
Now, of course. A little somber in the city. Best to keep her close.
Fair. Well, that does not match the outfit I had planned for you.
I would still like to keep it. Just a small little bit of myself.
Go ahead and give me a charisma plus persuasion.
Oh dear, my charisma sucks. Here we go. I think that's only one dice, so...
It is possible still.
Okay. That's still a failure.
Her brow furrows ever so suddenly and she shakes her head. It won't do. Hand it over. Do you resist? As she extends an elegant hand towards you.
Can I get it back? I mean, I can keep it in my pocket at least.
Oh, I'll keep it here. It'll be safe this way. Don't want something, if it's sentimental, to be lost. It just does not look good for the evening at hand.
Yes, but if I do plan on going back to Grayson's place afterwards, it would just be better to keep it on me. Wouldn't it?
Are you trying to refuse your sire's will, Crescent?
God damn it.
As she has given you an order. Even something as small as this, you feel your nerves tighten. Because she looks down at you, not responding, with almost a very stern, motherly look.
I'll hand it over.
She takes it from your grasp as you very reluctantly let it slide away. That's my girl. She brushes a finger off the side of your cheek as she walks over to one side of her room, opens a box, and drops it inside by her bed, closing it. Now, as she walks back over to the large vanity area, lacking any reflection, she opens a very ornate jewelry box where you can see all kinds of bright, glittering baubles. She pulls from it a very lavish necklace, well beyond your taste, but very old-fashioned. It's a long, interwinding necklace with small studs of diamond that come down to a very large teardrop sapphire, laced with its own ring of diamond, as she places it around your neck, and it's a little weighty, even. You're not used to wearing jewelry like this, but you do recognize she would wear this very often during her sermons. Now that phrases your face much better. Doesn't that look much better? It's perfect. Before she stands you up, has you undress, and provides an outfit of her home as she opens the wardrobe, pulls out a very long, beautiful, spaghetti strap blue dress, a little bit more modern than her comparative taste to your surprise, but still having a bit of that old-fashioned touch, as the fabrics weave gently over and over, made of the finest silks. As she helps you slip into it, it fits perfectly, but a little longer than you.
Perfect.
I was browsing around, and I remember you mentioning you had more inclination for the modern touch, and you like things a bit more aerodynamic, shall we say?
It is better in case of an emergency.
Oh, I don't think we'll be having any emergency where we're going, but one cannot be too careful. With that, you do see as she gently folds your more soiled clothing, putting off to the side, taking your weaponry, and with surprisingly deft hands, unloads your weapons, placing them very organized off to the side within her space. There.
Shouldn't I keep any weapons?
No. That would be considered very disrespectful, as we are presenting ourselves under an Elysium of sorts.
Right.
You will not be the only one attending tonight, as I've already sent word late evening that you will be attending to give your response. Is that a problem?
No, not at all.
Good. This way. As she leads you down the main thoroughfare. As you are all primped and primed, almost like presented in a way, what goes through your mind?
Again, just mixed. Just part of this is everything that she ever wanted, like the attention of her sire, but at the same time, there's that nagging in the back of her head that she knows there's something off about it, and she's struggling with wanting to lean into it, but then also wanting to run away from it.
What is your reaction as you feel these? What does it make you want to do in this moment?
You just need to go along with it. So just maintain face and keep going.
But you don't outwardly show your enjoyment.
With the image that I'm trying to keep, no. I'm just trying to maintain a steady appearance.
Okay. Keep that in mind. She takes you out front. The snow began to fall a little harder, a slight wind cutting through. If you were still mortal, it'd be very frigid. She waits underneath the large steps of the overhang for a moment before you can see a large limousine pull out into the front. A larger man that you can recognize as one of Dragos' personal attendees, tattooing come up the side of his face in very expansive but very tight suit, comes out of the driver's seat around the front and opens the back door for you both to enter.
Just a curious thought. Is this the same guy that we encountered back when we first started this whole endeavor?
It is indeed.
Oh.
As he does look at you with a bit of a squinted eye.
I'm just going to try and ignore that and step into the limo, which is very weird.
Eleonora allows you inside, sitting behind you as the driver closes the door, gets in, and without saying a word, lifts up the privacy screen of the back limousine and begins driving off. The interior, very darkly lit, barely having any light on, save for a small shimmering section where alcohol would be displayed in ice, though there is no such beverage available to you at this time. But you do see Eleanor cross her leg and smile and shrug. Don't mind this. Thanks to my new position here, Dragos has made certain resources available for transport when I need to. And he's expecting us.
I shouldn't expect any less.
I'll have you know, I need you on your best behavior tonight, Crescent. Not only will you be presenting yourself to the prince, but the prince has also taken the liberty of inviting the other hounds, my deputy, and the primogen, as... Right. Unfortunately, despite our alliance in the Camarilla being a success, not everybody within the council is happy of my new position. My methods are a bit different than Camarilla tradition. And I regret to say that some have taken opposed to some of my tactics, though effective as they might have been. So,
I always thought of you to be very traditional, so that's surprising.
Traditional, yes, but you have to remember, my child, until now I have been working heavily with the Savant, so my methods aren't quite the same as Camarilla. I am a bit more, as you would say, one would even call ruthless. It's frustrating to try and get this point across to these different breed of cousins. They ponder and posture amongst each other so fanatically. Wow, there's so much going on in the city. Thin bloods, unaccounted for, anarchs allowing to take roots. It's frustrating.
The anarchs have been frustrating.
I do apologize for that. But now
it's not your fault.
Though it has made me curious, what have you run into?
A unfortunate individual I'm sure you've probably already heard of. Duncan McTavish, and then another unsightly individual of Genghis, yeah.
Well, Duncan McTavish, his name has now been whispered to my ear, though it's the first time I've heard of it. His reputation precedes him. He is definitely a worry, and the prince has already made it very clear that he has to be dealt with, though you stay far away from him.
From Duncan?
Yes, absolutely.
May I ask why?
You're not ready to deal with something like that. As she says this, those words almost cut through you instantly, ice cold. She was so proud of you, so confident of you the day before, and to have her say this so quickly, it's almost like a whiplash. If your heart still beat, you'd feel a tightness in your chest.
And if he comes after us again?
You run. You leave.
Run.
Yes. You can see her even take a moment to breathe as she grips the side of the doorway, her violet eyes kind of leaning a bit more towards this red glare as she squeezes. You can hear the plastic of the door even kind of crunch a little bit underneath her grasp as she mutters the word, run. As much as I hate to admit it, he has proved a bit more difficult than I expected in tracking down. He's like a ghost. It's not the first time, apparently, he's done something like this. And I will not risk my child so carelessly.
You nearly blew him up already.
Yet, your Mr. Holland was lost, as she gives you a knowing eye.
Yes.
Right. Well, that only reflects further upon your capability to deal with that situation. Well, I'm not disappointed, as this was something that I had not prepared you for, and your age would not even allow the opportunity to overlap something of this. I will not risk something that I care about so easily for nothing. You understand, as she slowly looks over to you. It's not because you were weak. No such words. I care about you. Duncan is an entirely different beast, something I've not thrown at you before. You're proficient, and I have faith in you. But I will not throw away my child so easily.
So did you know that Dagos was using us?
You see for the first time since getting in this car, she blinks. Yes, I was aware.
So you risked me then, but you won't risk me now?
It was a test to see what you could do without being guided. You've been away from home very long, Crescent, and you have neglected to come home on a regular basis. Don't think I haven't taken note of that. Well, it did hurt my soul, but what's left of it? I understood. You're growing up. You're stretching your boundaries. And I'm not going to lie. It pained me to allow you to stay in the dark alone. But you've made it very clear you wish to stay by Mr. Holland's side, so I took this as an opportunity to test your capabilities. It's not the only time I've been speaking to Dragos to get you upon my side, as I don't fully trust Damien or the rest of his hounds. As I was not here to select them, I inherited them. Their loyalty is still in question. I needed someone on my side. And Dragos was not comfortable allowing a second La Sombra with any position. So, when he told me of his plan, I made a bargain. Allow this to be a test of your strength, to see how well you could handle this situation. And you impressed him. You impressed him with your tenacity and survivability, being out to outroot apparently this old veteran, this old ghost of Seattle, if you will. Apparently, by what he has told me, it far exceeded what he were even capable of doing. And I was also impressed by witnessing the news footage on that television box and seeing the carnage that this man took place. She shakes her head for a moment. Some of her dark brown hair kind of falling uncharacteristically in her face before she tucks it away with a swift motion. It brought me back to some of the war days in the Sabbat. Some of the carnage that we would see fighting the Camarilla as enemies. I do not wish this life for you. I wish for you to inherit something better. You were not born of the Sabbat. You were born out of the Camarilla. You were born out of my love for something different, that our clan could change and grow to the status of what they deserve to be. To see that kind of carnage, to see the state that Mr. Holland was left in. As impressive as you are, it only showed the risk that still fight on our doorstep every night. I knew you would be fine. I have faith in you. But it worries me. Of someone that could so easily sidestep of your strength and caliber, your keen eye. Someone so easily slip away, despite your ability to rouse them from their nest. This means we're dealing with something much stronger than you, and will take many of us to take down in an organized strike. You can't afford mistakes, Crescent. And I am gearing up an idea on a way to deal with this McTavish.
As one of your hounds, would I be involved in that?
Absolutely. When your time comes. After all, I need someone that I can trust. As she looks at you and smiles. Alexa, she is willing. She shows surprising amounts of aptitude for violence when needed. While Neka, while he's not necessarily a frontline fighter, his ability to be sneaking and cunning and strike from the shadows is impressive even for me. And his willingness and his, I'll say his gusto against this McTavish leads me to believe there's some history there, which I still need to flesh out. Damien, though, As my deputy, I don't trust him yet. His aversion to the prince's decision to allow us to become a Sombra is what resulted in me overtaking his position. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he is on my side, someone that I can rely on. So far, he has obeyed me and my decrees, and his loyalty to the prince has shown recovery. But he's yet to be tested. He's yet to prove his loyalty. The margin for error is too great. A big fish like Duncan, at least in my experience from the homeland. This was a very large strike, and he achieved what he set out to do. Mr. Holland is dead. For all good intentions, he has met his final death. He will wait. He will plan. He will recover. Based on what I know, his resources are slim, and it'll take him time. So we will take advantage of this, deal with smaller tasks, bring stability to the city, and bring change. Enact the prince's will, and bring those in line. Which does lead me to this Genghis. This is the first I'm hearing of any transgressions. He has come frequently to speak to the prince on matters that I have not been allowed to hear. But when you say he has caused you havoc, what do you mean specifically, my child?
Ever since the Sombras came to the airport and a deal was made between Mr. Holland and Genghis, I don't have the utmost confidence that that deal has been upheld honorably.
Do you have any proof?
I do not. I know that there was something going down at the center, but that was last night, and so much happened. I just went straight to the church. I haven't even checked in on the center.
She looks at you and smiles, running a finger just on the side of your cheek, oh so gently. The touch sends shivers down your spine. It is comforting. You made the right decision in coming home. The way you looked, it appeared you had been in quite a difficult struggle, and you needed time to rest. Though now that Mr. Holland is no longer with us, will you be returning back to that center, or will you be coming home?
You told me I needed to keep an eye on Acer, and I think he will be staying under that center.
Fair enough. Stay in bed with the enemy. Therefore, we can keep a close eye on them. I must admit, I don't have much faith in this thin blood. A thin blood. A speaker of those who cannot speak for themselves. Such a farce. But one we must honor, regardless. Do you remain quiet?
Yes.
She does not push further, though as you can see, her conversation kind of slips into deeper thought. You do watch that, over the course of the conversation, she had shown signs of agitation. Light flaring of anger here and there. Something you don't typically see in Eleanor. She's always so calm and refined, a smile upon her face. It seems this business with Duncan in the state of the city may be more than you initially understood. It's not long, though, as you were all driving, looking through the tinted windows of the city. The streets not as populous as they could be, due to the large bouts of fear that are rolling without. You all pull into the Emerald Estate, the familiar resting place at Dragos' Haven. Pulling into the garage, the doorman lets you all out. Eleonora takes his hand and lets her step out very elegantly before she turns to offer you her hand.
I will take it and step out.
She does not let go of your hand as you step out, holding it very tenderly but tight, keeping you close to her. She turns to the door with a smile. Thank you for your help. We can walk from here. You may go. And with that, she just waves her hand. You see almost a glaze kind of come over his eyes for a moment where he just nods his head, parks the car off a few bit away, and just walks off towards another stairwell. She smiles, adjusts her dress ever so slightly, and begins leading you down the opposite stairway.
Is this the right way to go?
I prefer the stairs. I don't much trust elevators.
Right. That makes sense. This is going to be a long walk. Okay.
And a long walk indeed. As she opens the stairwell, and you all begin to take the service entrance to begin climbing the next 15 flights of stairs. But while you ascend these stairs, we're going to take a moment and swap back over to another individual. As Grayson, up until now, you had spent the remaining of your evening surveying the damage of your facility, looking for Medico, who could not be found. You could only assume that she probably fled to her home after the events of what transpired, though you have not been privy to the exact happenings. But it's only fair. Your facility had gone from a comforting place of recovery to a war zone. So despite the chaos, despite the subterfuge that you know took place, or at least the subterfuge you can assume, the damage was minimal. As you listen to the remaining of your staff, as apparently Rudy had been in the middle of the cafeteria when Moses had broken out. He had done well to subdue many of the individuals that had lost their mind, though he had taken a small bit of wounding himself. Thanks to his ghoulish nature, though, he'll make a quick recovery back again this evening, with a minor bump and scratch and a small sling around his right arm. You surveyed the damage, and your herd had only been affected minorly. As I said before, you only lost 1 dot in your herd status, which I believe you were taken care of, correct?
Correct.
Good. But you slunk through those halls in the dark, dead to the world, dead to your people, dead to your home. Danica's been saved, but now your future is on a diversion path. Choices ahead of you as you begin to awaken from your day's slumber. Go ahead and give me a rouse check.
I do pass.
The dictator watches silently within as you slowly rise. You lean up in your secret bedroom within the hidden passages of the haven. Your body has been put under great strain. Another outfit again ruined, hopefully by the last mark of one John Stone. Peeling off your shirt, burns litter the exposed parts of your body, inside of your face, the parts of the mask that did not cover, a large gaping wound in your chest from where a crossbow bolt had pierced you, narrowly missing your heart. As much of an annoyance as John Stone was, he had a good aim, but you were faster. You suffered much damage. Do you want to try and heal some of it?
Yes, I would.
Give me 3 more rouse checks.
Success, 2, and 3.
The dictator continues to remain in stark silence as you force the vitae to your system again, a very common occurrence to your annoyance. As the wound on your chest begins to slowly mend, the breeze no longer tickling your insides as it's still soft and tender, the burns along your face and upper body beginning to fade and lighten. You healed 1 point of aggravated damage. But as you force your vitae, you notice something about you, this annoyance, this irritation. You thought it was just the drive to protect your home, the dedication to keep your status even from the dark, as you've so chosen, but there's something more. It's deeper. You could feel it rushing through your veins like a fire. The feeding that took place upon Acer's sister, your mind realizes that's when you started feeling this way. There's a determination underneath your skin that almost makes you hyper-reactive. It appears you've ingested what your sire has only mentioned in passing, known as a clot, more officially known as a dyscria.
Taking a mental note of it, I will very quickly throw on a pair of pants and a button-up shirt as I will make my way over to my desk and start to scribble down the feelings and trying to recall as much as I can, even in passing with my sire, more about this and its similarities to what he has told me.
Go ahead and give me an intelligence plus occult.
That'll be 2 successes.
2 successes. Your memory is not sharp on this topic. The mysteries of the blood still juvenile in your understanding, as you are still dipping in to the art of blood sorcery. Your master would probably be a much greater influence of knowledge, but you do know this, that a descria is a form of resonance. Resonance in one's blood is, to the common folk, they consider a flavor. The natural concoctions of hormones and chemicals that exist in blood alter that flavor depending on an individual's mood. Anything from fear to lust to anger to euphoria, even drugs themselves can bring on resonance. You are no longer capable of developing such things because you are dead. But humans, mortals, kind, can still develop this. You have been told a little bit of influence can even be adjusted. There are various levels of this kind of resonance, some a light flavoring. Your master did also state that, pushed far enough, can enhance your body temporarily, though a descria, or known as a street as a clot, offers a unique amalgamation. Something pushed so far that it has strange and odd effects upon the body of a kindred. And as you write, you recall this information, you write that you're writing very quickly. And as that feeling, you focus on it. Do you wish to maintain this feeling, or do you wish to try and pull it deeper within yourself?
When you say bring it back into myself, am I denying it?
You're accepting it. You're not, what I mean more feeling-wise, it's like an adrenaline is rushing through your skin. You feel like you could maintain it, offering some kind of temporary benefit. Your reactions seem to be quickened. Your mind seems to be racing with a bit more sharpness, almost as if your natural celerity had been increased. Or you could try and almost digest this vitae, pull it in deeper into yourself, like you're processing it through.
I don't want this to be a temporary feeling. I need to know more. I have enough information on it now, but I don't want it to go away. I must develop it further. So I will just imagine kind of bringing it into myself and putting it in a container within myself.
You will your vitae to circulate through your body, taking a moment to just relax your shoulders. You almost can feel this adrenaline coursing through every bit of your fingertips to almost condense to your center before it fades deep into yourself like a warm meal that gently warms your stomach. The feeling is not quite as intense anymore, but it's still there. You have got an extra experience point towards developing the celerity discipline.
I have one other question.
Yes.
So, by process of elimination, would I understand that this would be because of the feeding last night that I took part in?
Yes. Your natural intelligence and situational awareness would have you realize that when you ran into the facility, you were very focused on handling the situation. You're not prone to fits of anger or rage or impatience or adrenaline. You're very calculating naturally. But the moment the beast had taken over and you fed upon Acer's sister, there was a rage that sparked in you that was foreign. It was a delicious, spicy, hot flavor that warmed your every center as you fed deeply. It came from the blood. For this, go ahead and give me another intelligence plus occult.
No successes there.
No successes. You may need more time to process the exact source. However, you can maybe theorize that it is possible to push a mortal to having these kinds of emotions, push them so far to maybe develop this, but it's just a theory. It'd probably take further study.
Time is something that I have, at least for the time being. So take a moment. Could I take a breather and see if I can heal the 2 superficial that I have?
They'll take a rouse check per, as with your potency, you heal 1 per rouse.
I will go ahead and do that.
All right.
I will gain 2 hunger.
And what's your current hunger sitting at?
I am sitting at a 1 after last night, and this will put me at a 3.
Finally, a piece of quiet. Why don't we go ahead and pay that beautiful little Latina in that medical bay another visit?
She will die if we do that.
What does it matter? She should have been there in the first place.
Yes, but then if she dies, then I won't be able to further experiment with what I'm feeling now.
Fair.
Curious.
Mr. Holland, I do not wish to continue being patient with you. Last night was a travesty.
Well, if you speak your mind, we are one and the same, I would think, and I am thoroughly disappointed with the results. However, at least our facility is functioning, and not as many people as I thought were going to be indisposed of.
It doesn't matter. Our pride is what was banished here. We don't have proof, but I am sick of playing the long game. I want revenge. He has to pay. And those that don't fall in line need to get out of our way.
You mean Ganges?
Who else? The only factor that changed in this facility, the only thing that upset our balance was him and his ilk. He needs to pay.
Yes. Yes, he should. I mean, he took blood from me. It's only right that I take blood from him. You know, Acer may come in handy, the cameras. We could go after his friends. We could pick them. Take a little from them. They took from us. It's only right they give back. Yes.
You find as you speak to yourself, a smile begins to crease your lips, as your beast voice almost overlaps your own within your mind, and almost dawns on you. It feels like you're not quite having a conversation anymore, besides with yourself. More like repeating what you're already thinking. What do you feel right now? Your center in disarray, even though the damage was minimalized. Danica saved, but injured, though an old enemy has been slain. Rudy, injured. Your staff, injured. Medico, missing, possibly injured. And you were publicly dead. How does that make you feel?
No, it's not good enough. I don't want any of this. It's not fair. I deserve more. I deserve respect. I just need to be more prepared. As it becomes very clear that if he wasn't sure what to do with this new freedom, it's almost there's this bit of anger for being wronged as he has, but there's also a tiny bit of excitement he's now feeling, as now he gets to make all the plans and no one should be the wiser. It's a moment of actual excitement. There is this tiny part of him that is kind of reeling back, trying to hold him, to ground himself out, it's trying to maintain so he doesn't burst out and start mad rambling.
There's this budding excitement underneath your flesh. Would you say that Grayson's current desire has shifted?
Yes, I would. I want the name Titan to be respected throughout the Camarilla and Anarchs.
Go ahead and make a note of that as your new ambition.
I will do so.
As Acer's nickname is an interesting title to carry, as your public name has now been tossed. In this moment, Titan, what do you want to do?
I will go over to my desk, and I'm going to pull out my phone. I'm going to start sending out very small messages here and there. One to Danica, just to check in with her and see if she is coming in today. Another, seeing if I can reach Medico. Try to keep that message a little bit vague, but well enough to understand it is me. And also one to Acer that I'm going to need a new mask.
As you send out these messages and wait, the idea is now kind of flooding through your mind. Your natural inclination for planning starting to take ideas and gears start moving. Only Danica responds as you flip up your phone and pull up the message. She writes, "I'm alive and okay. I can't come in. I went to the doctor today and unfortunately I'm on bed rest. I would like to see you though. You've said some things that I think we need to talk about. And I'm scared to be alone."
I will head your way soon. It may take some time, but I will let you know.
She replies almost instantaneously, "I'll be waiting."
As I put my phone to the side, tapping it a little bit. And I haven't gotten anything from Acer.
Nothing from Acer, and nothing from Medico.
Did you say, how late is it at the moment?
Turning to your hand-cranked watch, the one you maintain, despite everything, has nary a scratch upon it. It is about 7:30. The winter nights allow the darkness to start early.
I guess it wouldn't be a terrible idea to go out for a bit. Although I'm going to need to disguise myself a little bit. And with that, I'm going to get up from my desk and I'm going to go over to my wardrobe. And there more than likely would be few things in there that would be more along the lines of rugged outdoors type stuff. Very thick jacket, maybe a mask to put over my face, be a hiking cap, poofy jacket.
The natural amount of luxury and resources that both you and Acer have spent in Deer Haven, I would say that's definitely easy enough to come by.
Good. Oh, and pull out these glasses would be a little bit too ostentatious, maybe. I'll leave the glasses. Be a little easier. But I will pull I'll pull one of those, almost not the ski mask that you keep around your neck, and I'll pull it up over my nose and mouth.
Is enough. Not quite your typical style. A lot more rugged, a lot more natural street-esque. But it overall accomplished what I believe you're trying to do, is cover most of your face.
Agreed.
It is, if you were still mortal, you'd be quickly becoming uncomfortably warm. But you are dead. It means little. But your form, your silhouette, definitely much more broad, your face covered, your hat kind of keeping things low, where mostly only your eyes can be seen through your reflection. Unless someone's really trying, it'd be hard to notice you off the street by a passing glance.
Good. That's what I'm going for. I do have to play the role. After all, I am no longer with the world.
So, I just wanted for confirmation, you are confirming this. You are allowing yourself to stay dead.
Grayson is no longer with the world. However, Titan will be here. So yes, Grayson is gone.
All right. Well, then I'll have to say I'll have to give you the flaw of known blank body. Grayson Holland is dead to the world as he has not surfaced, and until this point, you are not doing actively anything to retrofit that. So, to the world, Grayson Holland is no more. You can review the consequences of that later. But Titan, what do you wish to do at this time?
I'm going to make my way into the secret hallways, and I would like to survey a little bit, see how many people are still walking out and about, that sort of thing.
For this, you don't need to roll for this. This is your own home. Your secret passages allow you to move around without being noticed. You get caught a little bit here and there thanks to your jacket as you're a bit puffy, but you're able to look through some of the many spine ports through paintings and blind corners and get an overall feeling of the facility. The overall gist, many have no idea what happened. It seems that once your security staff, plus you and Acer, and it seems a little bit from Medico, as some from here and there have mentioned, many individuals became calmer, subdued one way or another, and in time, this passed. Rudy, you see him actually actively going through and trying his best to manage the chaos. You can see he, without your guidance, has already taken the initiative to kind of take a heavier hand. No one's here to really give direction, and you have been unresponsive, though he has not tried your walkie. But you can see patients are being led to and fro in organized groups, at least one security guard each. You do notice that Craig, the younger individual, he does have a bandage around one shoulder that kind of peeks through underneath his uniform, a small charred hole with a faint blood stain on the shoulder, as well as Armando, who is also seemed to have an arm sling and a bandage over one eye. Being young, they still showed up to work, even wounded. You do see also Jalen and Rihanna also working in shifts. Everyone seems to be working in tandem, following Rudy's instructions, guiding people to and from the facility. Many of your natural staff, you can see a lot of relatives, parents, and others in a frenzy of a panic. Some are demanding that they release their family member instantaneously now based on what's been going on. It seems that the overall vibe is your haven is in a state of flux. Many have been dead. You can see still some emergency services coming here and collecting. You can see police officers taking statements. You can see treatments are still trying to be carried out from those that were either hidden or quote-unquote unaffiliated. You see many individuals of your patients who are a bit rougher in touch are being interrogated by police. And the overall consensus that are giving is something happened and they snapped. They don't know what happened. A lot of your staff are trying their best to mitigate the damage, though in time, without proper guidance, who knows which way this is going to lead. As based on the outside perspective, it was your own patients that tried to kill each other, and no one is quite sure what happened, but nothing Masquerade breaching.
I'm just trying to keep things on the low profile to see if I can maybe slip out without having to incur without any questioning from anybody or sightings, because it sounds like there's quite a bit of commotion and people still going on.
Are you going to be trying to leave on foot, or are you going to try to leave with a vehicle of some kind?
I assume it would be much easier for me to leave on foot.
Without being noticed? Most considerably.
That's what I'm going for.
Then I won't need to make you roll for this, as luckily with your secret entrances, you're able to make your way unseen towards the back of the facility, and you already have enough strength that it is. You're able to hop the back end fence as you leave out with the second entrance that leads to the back exit, kind of checking back and forth. No one has active eyes in this area. You do see your camera, but it's your security, and Acer controls it. You slip out and manage to climb your way over the wrought iron fence, leaping over and landing onto your feet without any struggle, patting off your puffy coat. You're a free man.
And with that, I will make my way to Danica's, probably taking the least conspicuous routes that I can.
There is public transportation, or you can walk.
How far is Danica's?
From where you are, at least a good 15 miles. I will say how cold it is outside. Your excessive amount of clothing is not necessarily odd. As many others are wearing heavy jackets, beanies, etc. The individuals that you do kind of walk by here and there, it's dead in the winter. Wearing layers of clothing is not necessarily an odd thing.
I think for probably the first time in a while, I think I will actually take the bus.
For the sake of brevity, it's not long. Even upon the local stresses of people watching their backs over the evening, you're able to flag down a bus. You already have a little bit of resources, so you pocket some chump change and grab a natural ticket and on your way to the city. It does take you a good 25 minutes or so, passing through various bus stops, but then you're able to exit out onto a main street not too far away from Danica's abode and manage to walk your way into her neighborhood, as you do remember her address. As you approach down the street, many people, their houses are on, but you don't see quite that many people on the streets. Between the cold and the overall vibe of the city, a lot of people are scared, rightfully so. After the situation in Seattle Square, it seems the news, given the past couple of days, has definitely caught suit, and then who knows what could have happened with that fire down in Soto. People don't feel safe. But from where you stand, the outside of Danica's abode is brightly lit. You can see almost every available window has a light on somewhere.
As I'm going to take a look around and I'm going to take a look around to see if I can notice anybody else out here.
Give me a wits and awareness.
Okay. Matter of fact, I'll dip my head a little bit low and activate Sense the Unseen. As I kind of tip my hat down, keep it's like half of my eye out as I scan around.
Go for it.
It's awareness. It's 2 successes for me.
2 successes. Looking around, even with the added assistance of your supernatural sight, you wait for a moment, looking around. No one on these streets. You do hear the sounds of footsteps not too far, and you kind of quick to look. But seems to be a man dressed in similar winter gear, walking his dog down the street. You both make eye contact for a moment, the slight glow from your eyes causing this individual to almost like look at you and then suddenly look away and walk very quickly down the road. Probably mortal, and you probably just gave him a scare of a lifetime.
I can't be too careful anymore. As I kind of blink my eyes to bring it back to my normal vision, I'm going to go ahead and walk up to Danica's house and do a small tap on her door.
There's a long pause. But after a few moments, you can see the blinds right next to the door of the lit window kind of part open a little bit. You can see someone peek through before it quickly shuts. And you hear several locks unlock from the inside. Before you open the door and see Danica very nervously but smiles at you, and it almost takes you aback on her current state. Her hair is pulled back on her face. She is freshly showered and clean. And she does smile at you as she leaps out and throws her arms around you. She is wearing a thick nightgown, but you can already see bandages come from the wrist all the way up to one side of her shoulder. You can see patches of bandages that kind of lace around the front of her neck, down her chest, peeking underneath her nightgown. You can see a hard set of stitches on one side of her face from a cut that had been administered during her rescue. But she hugs you so tight.
As I hug her, but as I do, I kind of like pick her up a little bit and move it inside the door and close it behind us.
As you pick up Danica and you close the door behind you, we'll go ahead and move on over to Acer.
Okay.
Grayson, in your previous statement, what text had you sent Acer?
Specifically, the first thing I said was, I'm going to need a mask. And then he's going to, will also be a second message saying, going to visit D, period, which hopefully he assumes is Danica. We'll be back soon. Have a few things we need to discuss.
He's going to look at the text and be like, what the hell is D?
As you awaken to this text message, I need a rouse check from you as well.
Alrighty.
As you have been awake for some time.
I fail. I get a little hungrier.
It brings you to what total hunger?
That brings me a total to 3 hunger.
Suddenly that inner voice in your mind just becomes rattling with the sound of shaking metal and snarling. Looking inward, you can see that beast just glaring out through the darkness at you, his feet kicking against the open door repeatedly. Oh, come on. Let's play some more.
You know what? I'm not even going to respond to him this time. I'm just going to completely ignore him.
Kick and kick and kick. You just hear that metal rattling louder as you just turn your back upon your own beast. The sounds of snarling and fertility just echoing emptily through you in the dark, but not responding to.
And as Acer gets up and just ignores that rattling in his head, he's just going to go into the mirror and see, like, half his body just burnt to a crisp.
Burnt, cut, and scratched. You've suffered many grievous injuries over the past couple days.
And let's see. Probably best to do this. For today, I will heal 1 superficial and 1 aggravated.
All right. Start with the aggravated. Give me 3 rouse checks, please.
3 successes.
Despite the rattling of the beast inside, you will your thin vitate to the surface. The cuts along your body begin to knit shut. The burns begin to fade. That arm that had been previously sliced off now begins to grow layers of flesh, covering the muscle thinly once again, like a thick webbing sinew. It's like glistening, if you will, but the muscles are still visible through the very thin, translucent skin. As you heal 1 point of aggravated damage, your recovery continuing.
All right, and then 1 superficial.
Give me 1 more rouse check.
And success.
Despite the constant protests and the pushing of your body, those superficial cuts begin to lessen. The bruises begin to fade. If it wasn't for your arm, you look like you just got into a bad wipeout on a BMX bike.
That feels better.
Now, in the time that you have been here, your sister has not regained consciousness yet. As you had left her within your own room, as you awoken, finally, out of your torpid sleep, luckily being a daywalker, you could wake up as your choice. Without Medico, as you could not find her, and without Danica, as she is not here, there have been no medical staff to help you. So I have to ask, your sister is stable, but as she is not awakened, and she has slept all day, based on what you're saying, she has not moved from where you left her, but she is breathing. Do you want to try and help her, or do you just leave her be?
Oh, hell no. She's priority. Like, Grayson, I love you. I love your place. But yeah, priority is my sister.
All right. I will say, what do you wish to do? As if you poke your head out of your hiding cave, so to speak, the entire center is abuzz with activity, patients and staff alike being questioned. You can definitely see a few of the security guards that you had roughed up are still standing, but no longer losing their mind. But they have been interrogated for most of the afternoon and into the evening. Rudy is actually standing very well as he walks around with a heavy sling and appears to be a cast on one arm. A few bandages here, stitches across the side of his face where it appears he got cut pretty bad. But he's walking really chipper despite the way he looks. How do you wish to try and help your sister?
So first and foremost, my arm still looks hella fucked up, right?
It's functional, and it doesn't hurt as bad, but if you were to look at it, you can see the musculature underneath your skin, but in the right light, there's this very thin coating of almost semi-translucent skin. It looks pretty severe.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to go first into my closet and grab a long sleeve, one long enough to cover my entire arm. And then I'm going to head outside, and I'm going to walk up to Rudy, and I'm just going to be like, hey, things calm down.
He jumps and spins around as he kind of waves off a few of the Seattle PD. He's like, We'll talk more. I got to handle this. He's able to kind of push them off. Begrudgingly, as he spins around, and he just throws his good arm around you, tidy, hugging. He's like, I can't believe you're good. Oh my god.
Oh, God.
And he squeezes you very tight before letting go, patting your good side with his other arm.
Oh, I forgot Grayson gave you a boost. Jesus.
That's why I'm still standing on 2 feet. I feel like fucking hell, but I should be in a medical bed right now. Where were you?
Both. I had some other issues to deal with, mainly not being in control of myself.
Oh, great. Well, as you can see, no one else here was, as he kind of gestures around to many others. So far, since we're technically in charge until I guess further notice, because you're the one that signs our fucking paycheck, we have 12 dead. And the entire place is under lockdown for investigation of what the hell happened. I can only keep them at bay for so long, but I'm trying. Seems they're buying it, at least for now.
Okay, what are some of the stories that are floating around?
A lot of people, they're mostly saying the same thing. Things like hallucinations. They don't quite have a full memory of what's going on. It's fuzzy. They don't remember if they have done something, that they don't remember doing it. The 2 other guys, the 2 security officers that you saw, Craig and Andrew, they both say the same thing, is that they were hallucinating that things were literally coming out of the walls after them, which is why they discharged their firearms and unfortunately shot a few of the staff. So the wide range is some kind of mental breakdown, hallucination type situation. And I'm kind of sprouting that something happened where we were all sitting down for evening meal and everyone just lost their mind. And why I wasn't affected, I did a little bit. Instead, I got cold-cocked early. Which is why I looked so bad.
Okay, you know what? That's good. That's fine. I'll see what kind of BS I can find online of something that can cause mass hallucinogen that we can find in common places. Maybe I'll say it was a gas leak that no one noticed or something.
Rudy kind of leads you off to the side towards a more quiet corner. As you can see, a lot of the facility is now just soaked in a lot of water damage. There's a heavy smell of mildew in the air. And there's just an all-around sense of just discomfort, confusion, and chaos. As Rudy continues, do you have any idea what actually happened? Like, what the actual fuck? I kid you not. I'm sure you're in the middle of this because you also look like hell, no offense. We were all just sitting down for dinner. And then next thing I know, people are grabbing forks and knives and trying to kill each other. I had to fight someone off who was trying to stab me with a piece of plate.
Okay. Acer kind of looks around and deems it's still a little too open, so he grabs Rudy and kind of takes him into his room. And just kind of locks the door.
You take him into the group security office, where his office would definitely be, and you just shut the door, and people don't give you much stress getting through there.
I don't know exactly what happened, but I know for a fact Genghis is the one that did it.
The champagne punk biker bitch?
Yeah, that asshole.
Fuck.
Whatever he did, it made everyone go fucking crazy. And unfortunately, because of that, when I invited at the same day my sister to be over, because I had to talk some things out with her.
Oh, God. Well, that was a hell of a conversation. Did you have a good time watching the video feeds?
Yeah, didn't exactly get that far, considering that all the stress kind of triggered me a little, and I kind of went into a slight rage and might have attacked our J-pop friend.
Medico hasn't come into work today.
That's probably my fault. Like I said, there's these moments that I'm starting to realize that happened when I get way too stressed, or they just trigger it. I kind of lose control of myself. I go feral.
Grayson mentioned this situation could kind of happen in a different way, but curious, were you the one that beat the hell out of Craig? Because when he came to, he was talking about some string bean animal trying to eat him.
Yep, that was me.
Remind me not to get stuck with you on your bad side.
Oh, trust me, it's not like I grow in strength or size or anything. I just lose my fucking mind.
Right. Well, I've been in prison. I know what that looks like on a mortal standard. I don't want to know what that is on your standard.
I just kind of give him a look up and down and just be like, trust me, I think you could knock me out.
He looks at his casted up arm and up for debate. But at that point, you get a buzz on your phone.
And I will check it.
As you check it, it's from Bobby Hurricane. As he has somehow managed to add his name into your contact list, keep his number censored. First text is, where are you?
Morning to you too, sunshine. Send.
Instantaneously. No joke. Red alert. Why aren't you at Dragos?
The fuck are you talking about? I just woke up from being lit on fire. Send. I'm zoning out, so I'm not hiding this from,
Oh, he's reading. Rudy is,
he's
like,
reading.
actively over your shoulder
Yeah,
at this
Rudy's
point.
reading over my shoulder.
Instantaneously, you see the message says, shit. Second message comes in. Get here now. Something's going on with Crescent. All the Primogen are here.
Ah, okay, on my way, send.
Hurry up.
This is not good. Rudy, I need you to do me a favor.
Okay, what do you need? And, what's happening to, our terrifying little shadow lurker?
I don't know, but, if there's a meeting about it, that means I should have been there. And I'm not. I'm here.
What's a Primogen?
Alright, look, man, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I have no fucking clue. I'm still trying to learn all the terminology, but as soon as I know, I will let you know.
Okay, my only response to that, and this is going to be just going forward until you actually have real answers, get Mr. Holland. I don't even feel comfortable calling him on the radio because the other security will hear it.
Right, don't worry. I got that. I will text him and tell him the shit's going down here. Just in my room, my sister's asleep, laying down. Can you just please keep an eye on her?
What do you mean? Did she get hurt?
She got possessed by a ghost.
What?
Oh yeah, the place is haunted.
We have a ghost now? What the fuck are you talking about? That's real too?
Well, I mean, it's not so much a ghost. Ghosts are kind of harmless. It's more like a poltergeist that can possess people.
That doesn't make it better, Acer.
Yeah, that makes it a lot worse. Go ahead, go to the kitchen, grab some salt, outline my entire room, and just stay with her.
Is she hurt?
Yes, but she's better.
She's not staying here then. This place is crawling with cops, and your area is not necessarily incognito. She will be found. I'm calling an ambulance.
You know what? I agree with that. Please, do that.
Glad we're on the same page. Now go before we all fucking get our heads ripped off or something. I don't know how this works. And he tosses you the keys with his good hand.
Thank you. And if she wakes up, just tell her that I will explain everything later. Absolutely everything.
That was going to be my default. I ain't getting in the middle of you and your family drama.
On his way out, before he actually gets in the car and goes, he kind of just stops and kind of looks at his tire
you look
is
like
this
shit.
Okay for a meeting?
You look like shit.
This is not okay for a meeting. And he's going to go into Grayson's office and just grab anything black that looks nice, throw it on, and then get in the car and leave.
Go ahead and give me a charisma plus etiquette. You have no idea how the fuck to look for an Elysium.
Not good. 2 successes.
2 successes. Okay. You actually pull together a matching set of clothes, though you are a little bit taller than Grayson, but you're able to find stuff that fit okay. But they match. You're not wearing a tie or anything complicated, but you're able to pull off a pair of shoes that you have that look black enough and they're clean with a pair of slacks and a black button up. And it matches. Black is good. Black hides the dirt and blood.
Buttons up the 2 bottom buttons, just kind of dusts himself off, takes a picture of himself, just so later on, if this suit gets destroyed, he can go to the shop later and kind of replace it. He needs to know what it looked like beforehand. He does have an understanding that these suits tend to
it wouldn't
get run through the ringer.
It wouldn't be the first outfit that Grayson has lost due to complications.
Yeah, but this one I'm taking without permission, so I owe him one if this one gets destroyed. After that, he just gets in the car, turns it on, goes out, and as he's driving, he's just kind of Where the fuck am I?
You do recall Dragos' tower at the Emerald Palace. The last time you all were summoned to an actual Elysium there, you were at his penthouse at the very top floor.
That's a safe bet.
As he has 2 rooms. He has his haven, where you have sat down for personal meetings, but then you actually have his penthouse that has been renovated for kindred business, so to speak.
All right, that makes sense. And he's just going to go to the tower.
Driving through, it does not take you long to get there. As likely,
maybe speed a little bit.
Are you going over the speed limit?
Like a comfortable 5 over the speed limit. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Within the gray zone of any Seattleite.
Yeah, within the gray zone.
Luckily, traffic is not that bad tonight, as definitely the late city events I've narrated before have definitely taken its toll on the people here. The cold weather and the snow may want to go out. They're home. They're staying home. So luckily, with a little bit of extra gusto, you're able to pull up to the tower, maybe about 25 minutes, which is a good time for Seattle. Pulling into the parking garage, you do see, as you come in, one of the very large individuals that Dragos keeps in his employment, shaved head individual, one that has manhandled you before, does see you as you pull up.
I'm going to pull out, get out of the car, and you know that Tony Stark thing where he opens his hands all flamboyantly? Acer's just going to do that, do a quick turn, and just be like, yep, completely arm free. I'm kind of like, can I get it now?
He just looks at you, rolls his eyes, and just points you to the elevator, but he does open his hands for the keys.
Thank you very much, good sir. And I place the keys in his hands, and I just go in towards the elevator.
You run straight to the elevator, pressing the button a few times, shifting a little bit, waiting. The elevator can't take slow enough. You do step on inside, and as you turn around, that large man is stealthily behind you. As he takes one massive hand, leans in, pulls a card from the lapel of his suit, slides it into a slot, pulls it out. As you can see, the buttons turn off and the doors begin to close and the elevator begins to rise.
Oh, thanks.
He doesn't say anything. As Acer is riding up this very long elevator ride up to the top floor of the Emerald Palace, what's going through his mind right now? How does he feel?
In one simple word, panic. Panic for being late. Panic because he doesn't know what's happening to his sister. Panic because he has to get in touch with Medico, but he doesn't even know if she's okay or if she'll even forgive him for being out of control like that. All of it's more just not sitting well with him. He's trying to devise plans for everything, but the panic is just stopping him from getting anything done.
You're shifting back and forth very nervously as this panic goes on, and you have the intention of trying to blend in, so to speak. But as you come and the door opens, ding, and opens up to the grand foyer of this Elysium, you can already see many other kindred dressed up the gills, as usual, for any type of meeting of this stature. You can see a very large council table that kind of comes around in almost like a half-moon style fashion, light reflecting very gingerly off the chandelier, giving them a very dim appearance. And as soon as that door opens, a couple dozen eyes just suddenly turn and look at you. As you see Dragos in the center of this council's table, a myriad of kindred flanking on him left and right. One you remember as the Malkavian Baron, now Primogen, sitting very far end next to an empty seat. As you can see, Louisa, the now Malkavian Primogen, very subtly, just without making a face, just kind of ushers you closer, as in, come here now. And Crescent, as well as her sire, Eleonora, standing in the center.
Without saying much of a word, he's going to try to be dignified and walk over with some sense of calmness despite everything that's going on through his head, and just quietly just kind of sit down, and just anyone who's looking at him, he just kind of nods in their direction, kind of like, hey, how's it going?
Give me a composure plus etiquette.
2 success.
2 successes. The room is eerily quiet, as we can all hear your footsteps across the marble floor, but you keep yourself at a dignified pace. You don't run, you don't jog, you walk with purpose. You keep your head held high, your face neutral. It's a rookie success, to say the least, as none look to you with any type of aggression or hostility, more relief that you finally arrived. But as you walk and begin taking your seat, you notice immediately Crescent stands out to you like a beacon of light in the dark. Eleonora is always dressed very regally. This is how you kind of always seen her. No matter where she goes, it's like she just lives in a very elegant dress. This is the second time you've seen Crescent in an outfit like this, but she is dolled up more so than the last time. Hair curled and waved into a beautiful Renaissance-esque type style. Makeup, light but effective. Her eyes piercing through, causing shades of violet to kind of cascade over her face. A light rouge to her lips and a bright amount of jewelry that correspond around her neck that ended a flood of diamonds and sapphires. Very long, dangling diamond earrings as well, as she stands back straight, hands folded across her lap, and just maintaining composure.
Definitely he gets very confused, but very awestruck by this sight. More like, okay, didn't know she had that in her arsenal. But still again, trying to maintain composure, even due to the surprise that's happening.
As you sit down in your very comfortable seat, Dragos leans over. You're late.
Yes, I'm fine. I apologize. Still not used to all of this.
Well, you are new. I guess we'll just have to make do. Luckily, we weren't waiting for too long. Next time, I suggest you find better resources to keep yourself available and to be summoned when needed.
Yes, my prince.
See everyone. Day 1 and the Thin Blood can already show proper respect. My potential yet. Well, now that all of my council is here. Crescent. I'll make this short and I'll make this sweet. A lot of things have been going on in my city. A lot of things I'm not very happy about, as you're probably well unaware. Your sire has done well, but she has made a very bold case of needing extra hands. We have Walaneka, as he gestures over to the very dog-faced Nosferatu, teeth coming through, hunched over with a mischievous smile, just kind of snickering in his place. We have our informant. We have our hound, and possibly more Alexa, who just leans next to him, almost unfazed by the surroundings, as if she had other places she could be, but carries herself with a certain semblance of respect. And we have Damien, the now deputy to your sire, who stands right next to Alexa, but he watches you with a bag of mixed emotions. Your interactions with him have been good, but also tenuous at best. You, on initial glances, he kind of looks you up and down. There's no hostility in his eyes, but he's definitely uncertain. You do notice he constantly avoids Eleonora's gaze as she checks on the group very frequently, every other minute or so. But she never lets her hand fall from your shoulder as she holds you in place almost. Your sire has made a very bold case that we need more hands on the situation. And I have to admit, I personally find your late performance impressive, especially with one so Mr. McTavish that seems to have reared his head. I offered you, now before this council, the position of hound within the Camarilla. Instantly, a lot of the crowd began murmuring in an excited frenzy, some negative, some positive. People, a bit of stress as he snaps his fingers. The sound kind of echoes to the rooms, and people fall silent again. Now, before I have my answer, as he looks at the rest of his privileging, what all say you? As always, my word is final, but I'm open to hearing anyone else's advisement at this time, as this has been short notice. Eleonora claiming that Crescent has come to an answer very quickly, which is something I appreciate, as I do not like my time wasted. They all kind of lean and whisper to each other for a moment before a bald man with darkened tan skin, Greek bone structure, very stout furrowed brow, and a long white beard that comes down almost to the upper portion of his chest, but very well brushed and groomed. He wears a thick red, almost Roman-style outfit. Clears his throat. Kritas, do you have something you wish to say? Yes, my prince. This may feel old-fashioned, but I question if it's wise to have another woman a part of a position of stature. You can see Alexa lean off and look to Kritas with a bit of hostility. Now, many here are as old as I, but I feel like with the stress of the city, we may need a firmer hand. You could feel Eleanor's hand on your shoulder tighten, as you can see her try to resist her own irritation. Do you say anything, Crescent? Do you try to hide your reactions?
Since Eleonora said to maintain best behavior, yes, I'm trying to.
Go ahead, give me a composure plus etiquette.
I knew this was coming.
As you would take this as a personal insult, wouldn't you?
Yeah. One success.
You're keeping yourself in check, but do you want to try and get a little bit more success out of this?
They are blood dice, so I'm not sure that I can.
They cannot be re-rolled, unfortunately.
Yes. And I don't think I can add to it.
You can try and rouse the blood if you wish.
All right. Yeah, I'll risk it. All
right, make your rouse check.
Blood bags right there if you need it. A little blood dice.
Yeah, but that's only once per session. I don't want to waste it on this.
Oh, you know what? Fair.
Great.
Okay.
You maintain success. You may add an extra dot to your charisma. So go ahead and roll another die.
Success!
2 successes. You tense a little bit in the shoulders, but you lean back, keeping your hands relaxed and your face neutral, unfazed, though internally just beneath the surface, rattled. The crowd doesn't seem to notice. The prince slowly looks over to Kritas. You do realize we are in the 21st century. I mean no disrespect, but it has been a long day since you were embraced, Kritas. Women have just as much right to perform as any man. In fact, I have seen many women put men in their place. Would you agree? Yes, I can agree to that, but I do question the ability for one to maintain their composure in such stressful environments, at least in my experience. At any point, Gaster, if there's something you wish to say, you can say something.
I'm very confused as to why all of this is happening right now. Definitely thought she would have, taken a couple more days to think about this. So at this point, I'm just kind of more staring at Crescent for more of a signal as to which way I should vote, because I'm not entirely sure what's going on.
Crescent, with your natural wits, you do see as you're trying to maintain yourself that Acer is kind of looking to you very confused.
Subtly as I can, just be like, maintain calm.
Go ahead and give me a wits plus insight, Acer.
Insight, okay.
2 successes. You definitely are getting the vibes of don't open your mouth. It's not the first time Crescent has given you when you see this face, don't talk. You are seeing that face.
Okay. As she gives me that face, he's just gonna do hopefully a subtle nod in agreement, all right, I get what you're saying.
Crescent, you're surrounded by many of your elder peers at this very tenuous moment. Annabelle, the one you would recognize the Toreador Primoger and Keeper of the Elysium, as she smiles with this almost poisonous grin, white teeth just proudly expose a side lock of gorgeous white hair as she puts a long fingernail up to her lips. I'm not one to agree with Kritas' very out-of-date mentality. She pauses, gets staring daggers at the old man, who doesn't even acknowledge her. Though I will have to admit, despite her obvious usefulness, the fact that she seems to can handle things well on her own, I do question her ability to keep herself in composure. After all, her reaction to one Jason Newberry, as useful as it was a bit excessive and a little distasteful. Hounds are expected to be able to carry out the prince's will, be able to be rash and composed in their decisions, as the kind of power that we allow them to have allowed them to circumnavigate a lot of the standards that common kindred have to abide by. I worry she's too rash. Crescent, how does this make you feel?
Maintaining composure.
Composure plus etiquette.
3 successes.
3 successes. It glosses over you once again. You don't never react, and you do feel Eleonora's grip loosen ever so slightly on you, as you get the sense that maybe she's having a lot of faith in you. But she still holds her hand on your shoulder. Do you say anything to this, Acer?
I will wait one more time. I'll wait one more time. I want to see if anyone else sticks up for her, and if another one says something negative, then I will speak up.
After Annabelle does say this, a smoother voice comes out as you see dark skinned, almost look like if he was painted with pitch. Individual, long pointed ears, bald, with a top hat kind of come off to one side, but very well brimmed, very well dressed. This Nosferatu man, as his face is kind of shrunken down to a point towards his chin, almost like monkey bat-esque type snarl. 2 sharpened fangs kind of poking up from the front of his teeth as he... One would even question this one's individual skill, as by my memory, this La Sombra had no direct hand in routing out Newberry. It was actually our thin blood friend here who spoke out of turn. She simply reacted. Well, I condone her reactive speeds. If she is as graceful as she looks, or the reputation would precede her lately, wouldn't she be the one to have brought down this Duncan McTavish by herself? I questioned whether her ability is being inflated by our new sheriff. After all, these La Sombra are new. I have nothing personally against them. I'm just stating the facts.
And that's when I kind of lean forward.
So before I make Crescent roll, what do you say, Acer?
As I lean forward, I'll try and speak more out of fact and just say, with all due respect to all 3 of your responses, I can tell you with absolute certainty, fighting by your side, that her skill is unquestionably sharp. I do believe she could have taken out Duncan if it was more of a one-on-one duel, and she is the one that took down the White, albeit maybe with a bit of support. In the end, that person was in fact Crescent. And as for the female comment, I mean you no disrespect, but I'm more scared of her than I am of you. I believe her hand can be just as firm as given a chance.
Do you look at Kritas when you say this?
Nope. There is no eye contact with any
You
of them.
just should talk to Primogen.
Ooh.
I'm going to say for this,
Oh, God.
first off, I need you to make a terror frenzy check as you can feel an audible gasp in the room.
Oh,
And the air runs cold near you.
Well, so much for trying to act dignified.
I appreciate you.
To be fair, I have to stay true to Acer's character, and right now, someone is shit-talking his friend.
So roll with unspent willpower, half your humanity rounded down.
Okay.
As you just garnered a lot of attention from that statement. You can feel all eyes just suddenly look to you as people begin muttering amongst themselves. You can even hear some of the Primogen whispering to each other. You hear Lise right next to you. She does look over to you for a moment as the Nosferatu Primogen leans in as, that's a bold move for someone with little blood. Shh. It's more than you think.
8 success.
You maintain your composure.
I have a lot of willpower.
I will say, for the sake of this and that bold of a statement, go ahead and give me a charisma plus persuasion, but go ahead and add a bonus die for the risk you just took and whatever consequences may happen as a result.
Okay. All right, that's as good as this is going to get. 3 successes. I'm not going to touch that.
And they're all clean dice, no messies?
No messies, they're all just successes, so 3.
3 successes.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
As you maintain eye contact looking at Crescent, you can look over and you see Kritos. He doesn't move quickly. The moment those words leave his lips about how Acer fears you more than the Bruja Primogen.
Ooh.
I made a mistake.
Kritos slowly turned his head to look over at Acer, and his eyes flare with a bit of gold as you can see the vein on the side of his face tense. As his hands full of the table, you can see him squeezing his own hands, where his already tan skin turns a little white from the pressure. But he does not make any further movements, and he does not say anything else, but he doesn't let his eyes leave Acer, and he looks at him with a squint. Not a very large reaction, but you can already sense, there is a definite obvious aggravation at what was just said. I'll say for this, how do you feel?
It's tense. I'm definitely tense, but I'm trying to maintain composure for it because...
Despite your fear, you're trying to allow yourself to remain in the spotlight in this tense moment.
Yes.
I'm going to need a resolve plus etiquette, but I will allow you a +1 at Acer's help as his roll was successful. The crowd begin murmuring to each other as you can hear whispers of arguments, small arguments, among the local kindred here that are presenting themselves during this Elysium. You can see Drago's barreling down on you, and he does furrow his brow a little bit at the comment, but his eyes never leave you. He's been watching you this whole time.
3 successes.
3 successes. Your feet stay in place. You don't move. In fact, you even meet Dragos' gaze. And he looks at you with a barreled intensity, like looking through the scope of a rifle, just waiting to see if anything will happen. Before you hear a much more gruff voice, as a dark-skinned woman with very long black hair pulled back into a tight double fishtail braid all the way down the length of her back. She's wearing a very thick green button-up shirt with the top collar opened up and a cigarette pointing at the side of her mouth. But she looks at you with a very stern gaze. I can't believe I'm saying this. As she kind of pulls a cigarette from her mouth and flicks it a little bit. I actually agree with the thin blood. People gasp. Dragos turns. Really? Miss Hernandez. Well, look at her. I know for a fact she has been sent on with the late Mr. Holland, this thin blood, to handle all of our little chores. She did take down the White. She was the only one of their crew that was uninjured. Now, I know a lot of you might say that as cowardice, but I say differently. Look, it's no rumor that I've faced down lupines. And I'm going to say this. When you're staring down a beast of strength, when you're looking at something truly terrifying, you don't walk away with wounds. You don't walk away injured. That's if you escaped. When you're fighting something stronger than you, you walk away clean if you killed it. If you were the one to come on top, you don't get a wound, because if you had been touched, you'd already be dead. We all know what happens when we have to deal with a wight. It's something we all have to deal with to keep ourselves in check. Every single one of you lots. Kritos, stop mugging at the thin blood. He has a point. That was a very rude comment. I personally take offense to that. I could beat you in a one-on-one, and I would dare you to try and face me after this. Drago goes, no, there's no need for violence. The point's been made. No, hold on. As she does stand on Kritos for a moment, there is this, sharp discourse between them, between this gangrel, Primogen, and Bruja. Before Kritos is the first one to look away. His eyes look back on you, but there's a sourness to his face, as he has been embarrassed publicly. I say it's a good decision. I know I voted against the Sombra coming into our city. But I can definitely have enough honor to say I was proven wrong. Eleanor has already been making quick work on trying to secure the rack, and she has succeeded within a week. Something Damien couldn't do. No offense to you, but it shows age before skill. So what if she nominated her own childer? We've all had childer before. We all want them to succeed. We want them to survive and become stronger, become more dignified. So I say, enough with the facade. It's not really our vote anyway, but for what it's worth, I side for the Sombra girl. With a cigarette back in her mouth, and she leans back. Dragos nods. He looks out over the crowd for a moment. Looks at you, Crescent. Well, what's your answer to my offer then? As my counsel is right, I have the final say. And I stand by my decision. What say you? Will you become a hound of my city?
I say that if you'll have me, it would be an honor of a position to hold.
Brilliant! Easy enough. So be it. Dragos gets up from the table as there is now murmuring and shock at his sudden reaction. He walks behind the table. Acer, you can feel this frigid chill along your neck as Dragos just walks by you. There's this strange air about him that sends pure fear down your spine. As he walks over to you, Crescent, looking down at you. Kneel.
I'll follow suit.
Do you swear fealty to me, as the Prince of Seattle, to uphold my laws, my decrees, and to honor the traditions of the Camarilla, upon pain of death?
I do.
Do you swear to make fair judgments, enforce our traditions, and bring all who dishonor the Camarilla, risk the Masquerade, and risk the safety of all of us by pain of death?
I will.
He slowly puts his hand forward, ring shining on his finger towards your lips.
I will take it gently, kiss it.
He smiles as he pulls his hand back. Let it be done. Our newest hound of the Camarilla. Crescent, rise.
I'll stand.
From this night, you shall be our hound. You will join your others under Eleonora's guidance and leadership. You may retain your coterie, but your loyalty to the Camarilla is above all. You are a hound first and foremost. You will abide by our rules, abide by my decrees. You will follow with extreme loyalty and prejudice. And I expect great things out of you.
I will live up to your expectations.
We will see. With that, he turns his back and waves his hand. And instantly people begin to file and leave, one after another. Before long, Eleonora, who stands by your side, there's nothing left in the room besides you and the other hounds who wait until every single other kindred not involved directly with this whole situation have left. The Primogen still muttering to each other on the council.
Before Acer leaves, I'm just gonna mouth a simple, thank you over to him.
The moment Dragos dismisses everyone, his ass is up so quickly.
As you get up, Drago puts a hand on your shoulder and forces you back down.
And I sit back down.
Not yet, as he turns to sit. At this point, Drago sits back in his chair. Crescent, Eleonora, and the rest of the hounds. I'm going to be frank with you. What Rosa said is true. I'm sorry, Miss Hernandez said is true. Rosa nods her head as she takes a habitual puff from the cigarette on her lips, forcing her dead lungs to breathe air as she blows out into the open space. The situation with Duncan has caused a rise out of the Anarchs. I'm trusting, Eleanor, that you and your crew, now that you claim to have sufficient hands, should be able to solve this problem. Eleanor smiles and nods her head. Now that I have my child at my side, she is more than enough for us to deal with this problem. And I have a very special plan in mind for her already. You and me will discuss the specifics later, but for now, you are all dismissed. Expect great things. I don't like being disappointed. Yes, my prince. As you look to Eleonora as she curtsies and she looks to you.
I will mimic. Well, we'll do the same.
You hear a snort from Alexis. Eleonora turns you, and you all begin to leave out the main lobby, leaving Acer in an empty room. Do you do anything, Acer?
Just awkwardly looking around.
Dragos waits for the hounds, the deputy, and the sheriff to leave. He looks over to you and smiles. Gotta admit, you have a continued knack for surprising me with your very well-timed rebuttals.
I did remember to mention no offense, right? I mean, I've never been with the guy. I don't know who he is. I don't know if he scares me or not. So, I mean, logically speaking, it just...
Do you look at Kritas?
Yeah.
In mid-sentence, as you look at him, he does look back at you, and you can feel this wave of hostility swarm over you. And that fear is there. With your previous role, I won't make you roll again for the same scene. But yes, fear is something you should have.
Okay. Definitely getting that now.
Seeing the slight twinge on your face, Jarvis. I love politics. So, now that that's been a formal business taken care of, I'm going to make things very candid for everyone. Acer is part of this council. He is part of my advisory team. He will speak on behalf of the Thin Bloods, which we all know has been a rampant problem in this city even before I took power. So I don't want to hear again how my decisions have only caused a further problem with that. Instead, we're going to make it simple. Acer has so proudly nominated himself that he has solutions that he can deal with this. So it's going to be simply put as this. When there is issues, he will address them. When there is decisions involving thin bloods that need to be made, he will weigh in. And his word will be respected. And he'll be treated like any other primogenitor of this court, even without title. Understood. There's a murmuring of nodding and acceptance from the rest of his council. Acer, while I don't have anything active that we need to discuss at this second, as you look like hell. You dress well, but you look like hell. And I'll give you a few nights to recover before we speak further. Do you have anything you wish to say to the court? Do you have anything that you wish to acknowledge?
Simply that I am not used to the setting, and I apologize if I come off as rude. Apologies in advance.
You hear a snort from Kritas. But as Rose does look over, just shake her head. You'll find, Thin Blood, that we all have various degrees of loving facts that mingle with emotions. Tensions always run high, especially with the way the city is now. But I will be interested to see how you progress. So, beautiful. With that, I won't take up any much more of your night. You're all free to leave. We'll discuss things further later. As I'm sure we can only handle so much of each other's interactions for one night. Most of them murmur as he waves his hand.
Very much so, yeah.
And then begin all to rise.
And with that, I rise, bow.
As you peel out and make it into the main lobby, Crescent, you are off with Eleonora, as she has been discussing certain things with the rest of the hounds and even paying very accurate attention. But without getting details going, you do see Acer come out the door and almost hot on his heels is Kritas.
Oh, God.
As you do witness, as soon as Kritas exits the door, Acer right in front of him, Kritas puts a very large hand on his shoulder. And Acer, you hear, "You come with me, Thin Blood," as he forcefully turns you to the side and begins leading you off down the hall.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to look to Eleonora and kind of look in Acer's direction like hey, can I do something about this?
Eleonora sees you, and just in time to turn her head as she continues speaking, she sees what happens. She just nods, and she just pauses for a moment, leans in. Only get in the way if things progress. This is Elysium, after all. No disciplines.
I'll nod, and yeah, I'm gonna go back him up.
And as you rush off towards Acer, we're gonna go ahead and fade back to one Titan. As you have picked up Danica, embracing her back and bringing her back into the house, closing the door behind you. Do you set her down?
Yes, I do, as I assume that she is still holding on to me, which, once I know that the door's closed, I will wrap my other arm around her and just very gently hug her back.
You gently hug her back as you could feel it just grab onto the back of your jacket, just clutching her fist, and she is shaking. Before, after a moment, she composes herself, she pulls away slowly and wipes both her eyes. Glad you're here. Why do you look like you're going skiing? Wait, does this have anything to do with what I saw in the news?
I'm going to hold up my finger for 1 second up to her, and then I'm going to go over and start closing blinds in her house.
You begin going through her house, and she stays very close behind you as you... I've noticed that she has actually closed a lot of the blinds already, but you make sure to check doors, give a once-over. Everything is locked and closed already, and she kind of laughs. Yeah, you're not the only paranoid one. I just did get kidnapped. Huh?
And I nod, but then I take out my phone and I turn it off and remove the battery.
Do you want to sit down?
As once I take the battery out, put both back in my pocket. Yes. take a seat.
She leads you into the main living room area. As you both sit down, you do see the TV is on, as she is watching a similar recording of the news that Jarvis was. And it is just past playing over the events of the recent explosion. She kind of does glance at it, glance back at you. So I guess this is what you were talking about.
That is, in fact, what I was talking about.
I have to admit, I really don't know what to say. You dealt with all that, then you came and had to put yourself in further risk for me? I mean, oh God, this is way more complicated than I expected.
It's just a daily occurrence now with what I am.
Daily occurrence? Grayson, they're putting your name all over the news like you're a missing person. There's already talks along the more recent broadcast that you're dead. It's what made me go through my recordings in the first place. No one's seen you.
And for now, they need to think that, Danica.
Why? The center needs you.
If I was there and people knew I was alive, everyone there would be in much more danger.
Wait, what do you mean more danger?
As I point to the TV, you see all that?
I try not to look at it again, but yeah.
That wasn't just a random bombing.
She looks at you with recognition as she tilts her head to one side.
I nod my head very slightly. Oh, that was one of my kind. Not my clan specifically, but the one that did that is a very unhappy individual. And his mission that night was to make sure I didn't walk out of there.
She sighs as she kind of puts both hands on the side of her temples. Why? What did you do that was so wrong? Like, why you? Why does it have to be you?
Danica, I have been asking that same question to myself so many times these past few weeks. Why me? Why now? And it just... People don't seem to understand. They don't... With my kind, we were in very turbulent times. There's a difference of opinions. A different type of us is coming in, and it makes a lot of others very scared, and some of them very angry. And they're making it very well known. So, I'll keep this simple. The best course of action is, as far as I know, the one of my kind that came after me thinks I am dead. And if he thinks that I am dead, there's no reason to come and pursue me, which means there's no reason for him to come to the center and cause harm looking for me. I despise...
What happened with the center? Crescent mentioned trouble.
It was another group. I don't know how, but they made the patients go a little, but made it look like it's like an addict jonesing for his next hit. But I got there before things got too bad, and now we're kind of on damage control. I haven't talked to Rudy yet. Damn it, I need to talk to Rudy, but right now I needed to come over and make sure that you were okay.
You look over as she kind of rubs one side of her arm. There are many layers of bandages, like I said before, that kind of peek underneath her nightgown. They kind of go up on her exposed shoulder down to her collarbone. You can see she has a large stitch off the corner of her forehead that most likely will leave a scar. There are bruisings heavily around her neck as if she had been strangled at one point. Bruises around her wrist, bound tight from some kind of ligature or rope or zip ties or something. You can see her shoulders are very slumped, and her hair, while clean, is a little bit frazzled, and her complexion is very pale. She seemed to, at least overall, physically don't look too damaged, but she's definitely been through some situations. But she does kind of let her shoulders slump. At this point, she'd been holding herself very straight, but she does slump. I didn't sleep at all last night. I literally spent all night just pacing my entire house, checking the locks, checking the windows, checking the doors. I barely had enough guts to get in my car this morning to go to the doctor, who proceeded to barrage me with all kinds of questions, as apparently I have been missing for days, which makes sense. And they thought that someone had kidnapped me, which I told them no. Told them I had a hacking accident. So
it's the nature of the beast.
But what if he comes back? I mean, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't be even asking. You're dealing with all of this, and you came to help me, and oh God, I don't know what to do.
Danica. I reach out and I put my hand on her thigh. Danica, it's me. I'm here.
She looks up at you with tears starting to roll in her eyes a little bit, and she just sighs. Thank you. Thank you for finding me. I thought he was going to kill me.
No, I would never let that happen.
You act like I'm so important.
I think you can guess why I would think that, Danica. You were one of the few people that believed in me in the center when things were first getting started, and when I was first, as I pause for a moment, I look up to her, starting out. You know.
She does smile and shrug. You know me. I give everybody a first chance. I gotta be honest, when you first said something, I thought you got a little crazy. Until you showed me and Jackson, and you told us about it. You're still you. And I gotta admit, I don't necessarily think it's a great thing that you have to hurt people. I know Medico's very defensive. Oh, God. Medico, what happened to Medico?
I haven't been able to get in contact with her, but I'm almost positive Acer's trying to get a hold of her. She's more than likely a little bit spooked.
Is she okay? Do you know she's okay?
I personally do not know if she's okay. I'm taking it one step at a time, you know?
This is a total mess. This is beyond a mess.
It is.
Wait. You're dead. Oh, that was a very bad choice of words. I'm sorry.
As there's a small moment of Grayson's glasses, or actually he doesn't have glasses, excuse me, as he kind of points his eyes up towards her and raises the one eyebrow and just blinks a few times like,
you know what I meant. Oh God, this is not normal conversation. Oh Jesus. But if you're, he pauses, laying low, it's a better word.
Yes, laying low.
That explains what you mentioned after you got me off that hook.
Correct.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I've been your chief medical supervisor for a while, but I'm not equipped to take care of a whole facility. That's way above my pay grade. I'm no businesswoman.
No, but definitely have the beginnings of it, and I'm not gone, Danica. Be there, and I can help. Acer can help.
To be fair, I would rather him not help. I've seen the way he tries to help medicos sometimes, and he gets in the way.
Finances. He can do that part.
Okay, I have to give you that.
We'll cordon him off to that. He'll be fine with that.
But why me? There's so many others you could do. You could hire a business executive for the kind of money that Acer brings to the table. Why me?
begin to shuffle over and sit beside her. And as I kind of reach out and take her hands, I don't mean any small amount when I say this, Danica, but I don't trust many out there as much as I trust you to do this. Acer can't do it. He's not ready for this. Honestly, he's too young. He's got too much. I can't do it now myself. I assumed this day was going to come at some point, but Danica, I think you deserve this as well. You deserve this step to move up, to go a little bit higher. Something you deserve.
She takes her hands back and her eyes look up to you and they never break eye contact. And she listens to every word, leaning in to you, almost, ever so slightly. And she kind of holds that look. Remember what you asked before I got taken?
It's been a long few nights. Sorry. Did you tell me?
She shakes her head, smiling. You offered to, You offered to do what you did to Rudy for me. And Medico got really mad. Why did she get so mad? Before I answer anything else, you should know that's why I didn't come back for a bit. I didn't know what to think at that moment. And then everything happened, and now this, and before I make any decisions, because I'm assuming this is an offer, not as you're telling me so. At least I would hope.
Come on now. I'm not. This is an offer. It was an offer. You may take it or not. This is just something. I want you to have this choice. I can't do more than that. I think you know what I mean. I can't go further than that, but there are some things I would have to, that comes with it.
Like what? Grayson, I've always been honest with you. I bent my own morals when it comes to you having to feed off the people we're trying to help because I trusted that you wouldn't hurt them. And as far as I know, you haven't. You've made good by that. And it's not like the first time you've taken from me or taken from Jackson. In fact, we were like the only two you could cycle off for a while. I get that. So I trust you. So tell it to me straight. Why was Medico so mad? I think after this past week, I think I deserve at least that bit of honesty.
Everything has its cost. Even something as simple as this. I gained my powers after becoming what I am, losing quite a few things, and even this small thing, giving you my blood, means that you will be much more inclined to do what I say.
Really? That's it?
You will gain my power, but I don't like to use the word subservience, but you will be much more agreeable to something I suggest. And I'm afraid I have no control over that.
She looks away and smiles a little. You see like a tear kind of run down the side of her face. Why me? You said this could make me stronger.
Stronger. A little bit faster. Even heal quicker. This you have right now. You'll be back probably tomorrow if you would really want it. But it's because I know the world out there. And if you have this, it will make me... I will be much more content knowing that there's a better chance of you living longer. Danica, I want you safe, and I want you happy, I want you strong. And you see, the first thing that makes me think is that if I do this for you, that all that would happen. But at the same time, I don't want it to just be an order. I want it to be your decision.
She doesn't look at you as you speak, but she does nod. You can't help as you speak that you see a small smile kind of come across her face. You see the bags beneath her eyes, the slight being of the dark circles on her paler skin. She takes a long breath. You can see how tired she looks, how weathered she is. She slowly looks back at you, her eyes glassy and smiling. What do I have to do? I want to help. I want to help you, as always.
You would have to drink my blood.
You can see her visibly grimace for a moment.
And yes, it will be a little unpleasant, but that will quickly fade.
Why am I not surprised? I shudder to think that I'm starting to get used to this. As she gets up, you can hear, you watch her as she leaves. She walks down the main living room, turns her right into her kitchen. You can hear the sounds of the cabinet opening and the clinking of a glass. After a few moments, you see she comes back with a short, very elegantly carved whiskey glass. Shocked. Didn't know Danica drinks. But she comes over and she sits down, but very nervously, very close to you, kind of holding the glass in her hands. Without looking at you, she kind of hands the glass over.
Take the glass from her and I set it down on the table in front of us.
She nods her head. I want to help. Maybe if I hadn't hesitated before, I might have been able to do something about stone. I could have been more useful. If you're being truthful with me. She slowly looks to you. I want to help you. Wherever that leads.
I only want what's best for you. And this is something that I can do. It's not the best, but it's the best I can do. So, I need to hear you say it, though. Say, I want this of my own free will.
She takes a deep breath, kind of patting the front of her knees a moment. You can see she does take an extra moment to think. She looks at the glass, nodding her head. She bites the bottom of her lip. It's a classic look you've seen from her before. When you've thrown hard situations in the past from the center. When you first told her you were kindred. She had that same calculating look. I want this. I want to be helpful to you. Me alone. I want this. no matter what.
I look over to her and I kind of reach over slowly and see if I can grab her wrist.
She doesn't fight back.
As I bring her closer to me. Do you mind if I take a little bit?
She closes her eyes and she nods.
We'll slowly go down to her arm and take a bite.
And you feed.
I do.
How much do you take?
I'm at 3. I will just take 1.
You're hunger 3. There's no requirement for a frenzy. You are hungry, but you are still within control. And you feed. Carefully. But the flavor is sweet. Acutely sanguine. There is such a warm undertone in her blood. It gives you almost like a butterfly in your stomach. A giddiness. It's a happiness underneath it all. As you take a small sample. It's not enough to dive fully into how sharp this resonance is. The flavor is there. You slowly pull back, slighting one hunger. And as you look up at her, she's already smiling at you.
And since she's looking at me, I will lick the wound closed so that there is no mark.
She doesn't look away. She smiles at you.
And then I will mimic her and take the same arm. I will extend my nails out. I will open up my vein.
I need you to make 2 rouse checks for the blood, please.
Okay. 2 successes.
Despite the bloodletting, as she watches you open up her wrist, she does kind of wince a little bit, just out of involuntary reaction. But her eyes never leave yours as you take the glass and begin to fill. You will the vitae to the surface as it begins to fill the cup. Quarter, halfway, almost to the top, before you lick the wound shut. The glass is full of a very dark liquid now, your own vitae. It's almost black in how deep red it is, thick, congealed. It has a weight to it as the glass shifts. You hand it to her.
Pick up the glass. And I reach over and lift that arm up and I put the glass in her hand.
She takes the glass and she holds it with both hands. She kind of shifts the glass a little bit. The vitae kind of wobbles. Not quite the consistency of a full liquid. She smirks, a little wide-eyed. You can see a bit of stress as a bit of sweat comes on the front of her face. It's cold.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was expecting it to be warm.
Yeah, fortunately that part never seems to change.
You see her visibly swallow. She looks one more time at you and smiles. You see her hand shaking a little bit. Before she begins downing the glass quickly, shutting her eyes tight. And she drinks. And she drinks. You can hear her struggling to swallow the thick liquid. But as she does, already, some of the stress lines on the side of her face almost instantaneously begin to blend out into her skin. Her blonde hair begins to show a greater vibrancy of someone maybe a few years younger. The bruises along her neck already start to fade. Same with the ones upon her wrist. And now she finishes the last drop of the glass, a little bit left on her lips. She shakes a little, looking at you, still smiling. Some of the vitae still on her teeth. As you have now gold Danica, and you take a stain.
Even knowing this, I go over to her and I wipe the blood off of her lips so that I can see.
She says nothing.
How do you feel?
She looks down for a moment. The bruises have now completely faded. She kind of flexes her arms a little. She looks back at you with a bigger smile. Like I could do anything. And she blinks as you can see her eyes give a slightly golden sheen. As she's inherited your sense of the unseen. And from there, you'll fade away, back to Acer.
I kind of like the lovey-doveyness going on right there. Can we just stick with that? I think that's great.
Oh, Acer. You know better than I.
All right, it's cool. I'm a thin blood. I can take it. Bring it.
You feel a forceful hand as Kritos leads you down the hallway of this penthouse, pulling off to a corner before spinning around with a hand on your chest. He presses you up against the wall tight and leans into you, his lips pulled back. What was the big idea, Thin Blood?
Look, I was just pointing out a fact that I've been with her a lot longer. I didn't know you. I didn't know you were this scary, but now that I look up close, you are really terrifying.
I would make something very, very clear. I'm going to do you a favor and make it free of charge. You're not safe here. This position you're in is a mockery. You have no real power here, so if you want to live to see the next moonlight, I suggest you learn to keep your mouth shut, or someone a lot more rash than I will make sure you never speak again.
Got it. Crystal clear.
At this point, you can hear this conversation crescent, as I'm sure you're beelining right behind him.
Yeah, but I'm just staying silent at this point. I'm just making sure that no physical anything happens.
He looks at you before slowly looking over to Crescent. Do you try and intimidate him as you both meet gazes for a moment? Or do you just watch?
Yes, but I'm not using my disciplines to do it. It's just...
All right. Give me a manipulation plus intimidation.
3. Let's do willpower. Come on.
Okay.
Let's see what I can get out of this. 4 successes.
4 successes. Your eyes lock tight, and you can feel this presence behind you. No, through you. As you put a hard front, but then your hand starts to shake. As you looked at a man, at a kindred, and you know this one has seen many, many more moons than you. You can sense a power behind these eyes. Genjis is one thing. Genjis is tough. But there's a formidable predator behind the eyes of Kritos as he doesn't blink. He stares back at you unwavering. He's not breathing. He's not moving. He is perfectly still as golden eyes stare right back at you, never wavering. And you are scared. You feel scared that if he were to suddenly make a move, you would not have the strength to stop him. You take a point of willpower damage as he beats you with a margin of 1. But after he looks down, sees your hands, he smiles a little. It's like I said before. Looks back to Acer. We'll see in time if your will is up to the test. But until then, keep your head low, if you like it still attached to your shoulders. Got it?
Crystal.
You could feel him squeeze around your collarbone, digging in very uncomfortably, as you can hear a He looks to see Khalid, the Nosferatu primogen, fully dressed up in a double blazer overcoat and a long tail frock, standing silently behind you, Crescent, almost making you jump a little bit, as he is an inch from behind your back. He leans on one cane with a smile, cat-like eyes looking at Kritas. Now, old man. I believe this is quite unbecoming of you, picking on the small and defenseless. Come on, have more etiquette. You're from a much more old-fashioned time. This is hardly beneath you. Kritas straightens his back, adjusts his robe. I was simply just informing our new council member of a little bit of protocol, an understanding of hierarchy, even amongst each other. Well, I think you've made your point. Do remember, we have a image to keep, as he kind of tilts his head and smiles. Kritas relaxes, but gives you one more look, Acer. Do you do anything?
Has he let go of me?
He has let go of you.
Then with that, he's just going to back away and just be like, Katak. And then he's going to turn around and grab Crescent and then just kind of walk away.
Khalid puts his cane out, stopping both of you.
Oh dear.
A word. Not involving you, Kritas. You can go. Kritas just squints his eyes for a moment before shoving past Khalid's cane. He gives a bit of a floral and puts it back on the floor. Oh dear. First day here and everyone's already making waves. Ooh, too much excitement for my tastes.
Alright, so just to get this out of the way early, if I upset or said anything wrong, I apologize.
I'm going to stop you right there, Thin Blood. No insult taken. In fact, I found it rather amusing. Someone of your, he kind of pokes you in the abdomen a few times with his cane. Your fragility had the bravery to say what you said. I know nary a Thin Blood that has that kind of gusto.
Just, trying to set the record straight. I mean, there was a lot of talk going on in there. Some of it more just assumptions. I just figured I'd throw some, logical facts from someone who was there with her. That's it.
Fair enough. Facts presenting as facts. Many of my brothers and sisters in there would do well to learn. That is probably the best course of action, though. What can we say? We're all flawed in our own ways. He gives you this very long, crooked smile. The more he smiles, his face is very squinched toward the front. It's very angular. It's not bad looking, but the moment he smiles, the smile just keeps stretching and stretching until it's almost ear to ear. You can see long row of pointed teeth. His fangs coming outward, a little bit longer, but his entire mouth is like a mouth of sharp teeth. They just line up perfectly with each other as he smiles this very large, disconcerting Cheshire smile.
Well, I mean, we all have our own flaws to work on, right? I'm going to go work on mine.
Well, see that you do. I would hate to see I lose a bet so early on. But first, as he leaves a hand, and he reaches into his trench coat, his other coat, and pulls out an envelope. He hands it over to you.
I kind of gingerly take it and just kind of look at him, very confused, like, sorry, bet?
Don't worry about it. This is a message from, he pauses for a moment. So you see him kind of gritting and grinding his teeth. You can almost hear the bone grinding over bone for a moment. Friend. Let's call it a friend. And I was told to pass this along. Regardless, stay safe. That is all I needed. Good night. With that, he kind of twirls his cane, tucks it underneath his arm, and turns the hall, and just quietly leaves. You do hear as he's going, nice meeting you all, by the way. Toodaloo.
Pleasure to meet you, too. As I kind of just awkwardly wave.
He doesn't look back, and he does disappear, joining the others.
Acer's just going to do a quick look around and getting close with Crescent and just be like, all right, that was weird, right?
Yeah, I'm still getting used to. What did he hand you?
An envelope.
Of what? Dare I ask?
I mean, I would love to look at it, but I don't think here is the best place.
We should probably go back to the set. How are things at the center, by the way? I've kind
calmer.
of out of the loop. Calmer. Okay,
that's calmer. Everything's a lot calmer. No one's trying to kill me or light me on fire. I gotta talk to you about that. Also, there are 12 dead. Yeah, the media's going kind of crazy.
Dead.
Dead. Not due to our doing, more self-inflicted and fighting amongst
anybody we know?
No one a part of the security force or the staff, more the people.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. I mean, not...
Although, probably not a good idea to tell you this here, but...
Well, that's okay. There's a lot that we need to talk about. I actually need to tell you a few things probably away from here as well. So, why don't we get back to the center first? I'm just gonna go see if I'm excused, I guess.
Right. Rudy gave me the keys to the van, so look for the van.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't have a ride, I'll be downstairs waiting for you.
Yeah. If you could wait for me, I don't really have a ride, so yeah, that'd be great.
Done deal. And with that, he is just going to go to the elevator and try and get to his car.
I'm gonna go to Eleonora and make sure I'm dismissed.
She appreciates your etiquette. I'll say for the sake of brevity, you are dismissed. Eleanor makes it very clear that she'll be following up with you soon. Giving a kind of an initial glance over, Damien still seems very unconvinced. Alexa, however, does look at you with a side smirk. Almost like a gangs-like smirk. She seems amused at what happened tonight, but she says nothing. But she does nod at you. Well, Neka, he never stops smiling. In fact, you could hear almost this perpetual involuntary chuckle coming out of him, like he always seems to know a dirty little secret. But he does nod at you. Welcome to the team, girlie. Eleonora pats you on the shoulder. Feel free to go and do as you please. I'll be in touch, darling. She does lean over, though, and kisses your forehead very gently, giving your shoulder an affectionate squeeze, before gently patting your back. Her cold hand brushing against the exposed skin on your back, sending chills down your spine. It almost makes you reluctant to leave her.
My necklace and the weapons?
I'll stop by and drop them off in a box once I've cleaned them and had them tailored.
All right. Thank you.
And you join Acer. Is there anything specifically that either of you would like to do on the way back to the center? Almost immediately, as soon as Crescent hops in the front seat, she rips out the bow that was in her hair and fluffs it to almost meta-grade standards.
I'm going to be 100%. You look good, but this... I miss your old look.
my hair is a wavy mess. I mean, granted, it's gonna go back to being straight here soon, but thank you, I think. All right, we're gonna talk. This is probably a good time to do it.
Yeah, okay. First and foremost, since I'm driving, I have the wheel, and there's less likely you will attack me for this, because if I go down, we will crash into the nearest pole. So take this with a grain of salt.
You do feel the van begin to speed up a little as he says this.
Why are you concerned about that?
All right, so there was an accident at the center, and
why are you concerned about your own well-being due to an accident?
well, you see, the accident involves our resident J-pop friend.
What is wrong with Medical?
While protecting my sister, I might have gone into what do you guys call it? Compulsion? Is that it? Compulsion? You know, where I stop being smart and start acting like a rabid animal that has the IQ of 2.
Acer, what did you do? I suggest you spit it out.
I might have drank from Medical, but to be fair, she lit me on fire.
Crescent, how angry are you?
Oh, furious.
Give me a fury check.
I have to be honest, I'd be furious. That's a touchstone.
Unspent willpower, humanity rounded down.
Oh god, that's not a lot of willpower. Great.
Try not to kill me too quickly.
I mean, that's one success.
I mean, you can always use a blood die. You know, there's 2 there. I know we're saving it for something important, but me not dying is pretty important.
I don't even know if that would save you at this point.
Okay, girl, use them all. I don't want to die. I lived through too much shit.
Black die. Okay, my one black die is not a crit, so there's no chances of a messy crit. What?
Wait, that toast gave us another one, so we have a total of 3 now. You can use all 3 if you need it.
Each person can pull from the pot once a session. There are 3 die for your disposal.
I want to pull all 3, though. I want to save 1 just in case we need it.
So you want to pull 2?
I want to pull 2, yes.
Take 2. There are blood die, though.
I'm sorry, Acer. This is a big touchstone. This is like...
I know, but I have to be honest. Like, Acer's at a point with you guys where he has to be honest with you.
I know, and honesty is great. There's only 1 additional success, so 2 success.
Crescent, you dig your nails into the front of the van. And Acer, the front headlights of the van go out. As this van and every light in this van go out. The reading lights on the gauge, the speedometer, the headlights go dark. As you can see very faintly as the city lights pour through the moving window, Crescent's nails dig into the front of the hood of this car, her nails extended, and she looks to you, and you can see violet eyes glowing through the dark. Crescent, you are completely taken over with fury. This whelp, this thin blood, has laid hands upon your touchstone. You are raging with fury. You want to tear him apart, limb from limb. You want to slay him and turn him to ash, forever touching someone that you cared about. Acer, you hear this rumbling in her chest like a predator. Like a leopard hiding in the jungle. A lion stalking through the grass. A monster in the dark. As the small bit of city lights that pass over give a slight shadow, you can see the shadow twisting and moving on its own. Looking at you, laughing, afraid, screaming. Looking at you, laughing, screaming. Going through multiple flashes of emotion, while Crescent just looks at you completely still. Crescent,
Okay.
you can burn willpower to resist it, but you want so bad to murder him. You take a point of superficial willpower damage. As Acer, she doesn't move, but she's frozen solid staring at you. Crescent, you have control of yourself for a couple of seconds and you're going to do something.
I see you back at the center. And I don't even care about opening the door. I'm going to destroy the door and get out.
All right, go ahead and give me a strength plus athletics. As you're going to just try and super kick this door open as you, Acer, are flooding down the overpass of the Seattle Bridge.
I don't fucking care at this point. You said strength and...
Strength plus athletics. It's just got real fucking interesting real fast.
If you're telling me that you failed your strength check against the damn
I did
door...
not fail! I got a messy crit!
A messy crit.
And I don't have any more willpower. I can't change that.
How many successes in total?
6.
6 successes.
Oh, fuck.
Acer, you don't have time to mince words before Crescent swiftly turns and kicks the door on the side of the van as it ruptures and shatters off the hinges, flying over the overpass. In a blur of motion, she is out and over the bridge as you speed on by. Do you keep going, or do you dare risk going back for her?
As soon as she jumps out, Acer just looks over like, holy Oak looks in rearview mirror. Oh,
she didn't go behind you. She jumped over the bridge. You're in the Seattle overpass, and she just jumped out of the bridge to the lower levels.
Oh, hell no. I got a lot more self-preservation than that. And he just keeps driving.
I told you I'd see you back at the center, okay?
Acer, you speed away just straight to the center, fearing for your safety.
Fearing for more than my safety, but yeah.
Okay. You drive, and drive, and drive. Do you just go straight to the center?
Yeah. Just gonna go straight to it. No deviations.
You're there in record time. Unrealize how fast you're actually driving to flee. But eventually you do make your way into the garage. The door missing from your right. The envelope still in your pocket. Do you read it?
I was hoping to read that together, but fuck it, yeah, sure.
You pull out the envelope. The first thing you see are pictures. Pictures of your sister and Thomas together, with you in the background of the restaurant leaving with Medico. Another picture of you and Ken in the middle of a session weeks ago. You see a picture of Medico entering into the Harley-Davidson shop where you were shopping for Crescent's bike. You see a picture of Mr. Holland speaking with Rudy and Danica many weeks ago. There are addresses. Your parents' addresses. The address is of Danica's home. The address is of someone else's. Don't know who. You see your sister's apartment number on there. And a small letter, folded in half like a greeting card, in fine parchment. Do you read it?
Oh yeah, after that he's freaking out. Yeah, he's definitely going to read it.
I am honored to have you in my abode. I trust you have come here with understanding of all of your own positions, and I will see you soon. Signed, S. There's an address at the bottom of the card.
Great.
And with that, we fade out tonight. Sometimes the beast overtakes us all, no matter how hard we try. Sometimes the triggers are just too strong. And when that happens, people die. So for now, good night to you all. Be sure to tune in next time, as we'll have a very, very special guest on our stream. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We appreciate you. Good night, everyone. We'll see you all again soon.